Apologies, I had to delete the previous edition of this video that I started at 5 p.m. because I didn't know that there was problem with my audio, and I've been on the video for about 18 minutes before it came to my attention that there was problem with the audio. So I had to delete it, and I have to start the podcast again. And so my name is Gideon Oguniye. I'm the project leader of Fat Corner, and welcome to another episode of Fat Corner podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about Twitter blue tick verification, the implications on Africa, on politics in Africa, and also social activism in Africa. So let me start by saying that influential African leaders, celebrities like musicians, like movie actors, and opinion leaders in Africa, they are on Twitter because Twitter allows engagement with politicians, with these celebrities, in a way that is more engaging than most of the other online social networks like Facebook, because you can directly tag these people, you can interact with them directly on Twitter, and this sort of interaction, it's happened in a way that were previously never possible. So Twitter is a very good platform that allow such kind of direct interaction with opinion leaders, with politicians, with celebrities. Now, online social networks, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they are emerging platforms for social activism in sub-Saharan Africa. And if you look at African continent, even though we are lagging behind in terms of smartphone ownership, in terms of internet connectivity, if you compare Africa with some other regions of the world or some other continents of the world, you would say that we were lagging behind in terms of internet connectivity. But there is strong evidence to suggest that online-based movements have fundamentally transformed political engagement in Africa. And I can cite so many examples of this. For example, let's talk about the hashtag activism that we've seen on social media platforms like Twitter. We've seen hashtag activism like this flag, hashtag in Zimbabwe, like Rhodes Must Fall hashtag in South Africa. We've seen something like NSAS hashtag in Nigeria, and this hashtag have been used to demonstrate that social media can actually be used as a platform for resistance, for activism, for civil disobedience, and so on and so forth, and also to pass across some criticism of activities of government, and also to pass some political opinions and some political agenda across. So social media has been used for that, and we've seen the unique ways online-based movements like the obedience movement in Nigeria, for example, have used social media to propagate their agenda and their political messages, and also to sort of mobilize people towards their political agenda. So these are the things that we've seen on social media. And across the world, not just in Africa, we've seen that these technologies have immensely transformed human interaction in unprecedented ways. There is hardly any world president in the world that doesn't have Twitter account, or big organizations, they have Twitter accounts, celebrities, they have Twitter accounts, and we've seen how interaction between these people and their followers have been immensely transformed in a way that were never possible before. So Africa as a continent has not been left behind when it comes to using social media as a way to engage opinion leaders and also to engage celebrities and politicians. And we've seen that the political landscape in Africa has been immensely influenced by social media, because social media, the arguments on social media have sort of sort of made inroads into the political arena. And you see there is no time you don't see on television, established television stations, people discussing issues that they see on social media. So that means social media is playing huge role in conversation around politics, is playing huge role in activism, in people having their opinions passed across to their elected and appointed leaders. So, but I want us to look at the decision of Elon Musk, the controversial owner of Twitter, to remove the blue badges from previously verified accounts on Twitter, and he's saying that unless they subscribe to Twitter Blue, they are not going to have that blue tick. And that has led to discussions in the virtual and also in the real world. And there are questions that have come up as a result of this decision of Twitter. Questions like, will impersonator accounts proliferate? I mean, are we going to have more of people impersonating people on social media? Will misinformation spread even more? Because one of the criticism of social media is that it's easily allow spread of misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation on social media, and I can attest to that. So there are questions that we see misinformation spread even more. So these are the questions, and also what is going to be the implications of all of these on politics and activism in Africa. So these are the things I'm going to be discussing in today's broadcast. So I want to say that if you enjoy this video, this podcast, and you want to see the previous editions of our podcast and interviews on Fat Corner, and also the subsequent one, please subscribe and turn on post notification on Facebook and also on YouTube. You'll see FACT in uppercase on and corner in lowercase on Facebook and also on YouTube. So before I delve into the conversation, I go into the implications of Twitter verification, on Twitter blue tick verification, on politics and activism in Africa. Let me give you some sort of background. So what has happened is that Twitter have started stripping legacy blue ticks from verified user, people that were previously verified on the platform. So Twitter have started stripping them of this verified user blue tick because they have refused to pay for the monthly fee that Twitter is asking for. And we've seen that this policy has affected celebrities like Cristiano Ronaldo, the most followed athletes or the most followed personality on Twitter. It has affected big celebrity like Jay-Z. It has affected ex-president like Donald Trump. Even Pope has been affected. And let me quickly show you. So this is Pope Twitter account before the blue tick was removed. You would see that this is blue tick on the account. Now look at how the account looks like after blue tick has been removed. And this is an account that has, I'm not sure whether it's here, but this is an account that has millions of followers. Now look at this is Kim Kardashian account on this thing. This is an account that has 75.1 million followers without the blue tick. The blue tick has been removed from that account. And this is Donald Trump account on Twitter, and this account has 87.2 million followers without the blue tick. So many things are happening. Now, what is the implication of all of this? First, on the people, on the world. What is the implication of this? Before I talk about the implication, let's look at what the Twitter owner is saying. So the Twitter owner gave his own reason for trying to force people to pay for the blue tick. And the one of the arguments is that Twitter acknowledge that the platform has what we call bot problem. That means bot is a software that sort of imitate or replace human users' behavior. They are not human users. They are software programs that have been developed to perform some automated and repetitive tasks, and they sort of um, imitate human user. So, and Elon Musk is saying that one way to try to deal with this problem is to make people to pay for verification on Twitter. And what that is going to do is that those that are verified, their tweets, their responses to other people's tweets will be promoted more than those that are not that are not paying for the subscription. So what we're going to have, we are going to have a new dawn of Twitter where you will see the posts of people that have paid for verification appear more in your feed than those that have not paid. So what that means is that people like Pope, people like Donald Trump, you are not going to see their posts more, even though they have 80 million, 70 million followers, because they have not paid for verification. So you can even see the post of somebody with 1,000, 2,000 followers being promoted on Twitter and having more engagements than former president like Donald Trump that has 70 something million followers. So that is one of the implications. Before I narrow it down to how it affects politics in Africa and also activism in Africa, I want to give you some perspectives and some context into what is happening and what is going to happen. So that is the reason, one of the reasons that Elon Musk gave, that is going to help us to deal with bots, with vexatious automated accounts. We are trying to remove them. Another argument of Elon Musk is that it will make Twitter to be less dependent on advertisements, because if you look at Twitter, their business model, 90% of your revenue, annual revenue of $5 billion come from advertisement. And what Elon Musk is saying is that, look, we are trying to develop a model where we will get money from subscribers and we will get less amount from advertisement. It's good for some of us that do not want to see much of advertisement on Twitter, on social media platform. We want to see more of the posts of the people we follow and people that are following us, and we want to have more of that engagement. We don't want to see more of advertisement. So I like that idea that we are going to have more of the posts of people that have subscribed being promoted than advertisement. Yeah, it's good. And what Elon Musk is saying is that is more sustainable as a business model than to have blue subscribers than to have more of advertisement. Yeah, that is good. But the experts, what they are saying is that what you are going to get with blue subscribers paying for the subscription is that you will have more of blue tick verification that are based on people that have paid, not people that have actually been authenticated by Twitter. And what that means is that you can even have impersonator paying for blue verification and having their posts more promoted than even real people. So let me break it down for you. So if, for example, let me come down to Nigerian politics. So if somebody tomorrow created a parody account for Peter Obi, for example, or for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if Peter Obi refused to pay for the blue verification, the tweets that are coming from Peter Obi will be deranked. So you are not going to see more of those tweets. But you are going to, if the person that is impersonating Peter Obi on Twitter pay for blue verification, you are going to see more of the tweets and posts from that parody account than from the real owner of that name. I don't know whether you understand what I'm trying to say. And the implication of this is that you will have that account causing a lot of damage, spreading misinformation. You have malicious people creating accounts to impersonate Pope, to impersonate Beyonce, to impersonate um, any celebrity, paying for blue verification, having their post more promoted than even the real owner of those accounts. So this is the first major problem that I see in all of this. And I think the way Twitter can address this problem is to make sure that the motivation is not just on payment, on subscription. They still retain that identification and verification, so that we users can be sure that people are who they claim to be on the platform, and that we don't have impostor paying for verification, having their post promoted at the detriment of the people they are impersonating. Because, and I'm going to say that celebrities, Cristiano Ronaldo, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Peter Obi, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, opinion leaders, politicians, even presidents of nations that have had their Twitter verification removed, they need to go and get that verification or exit Twitter and release a statement that they are not on Twitter. The implication of them staying on Twitter without being verified is that so many people will create accounts on their name, and they would post a lot of malicious content that are targeted at destroying their reputation. So they cannot say that I'm not going to pay for this subscription, because this is what I've seen many of them saying, that I'm not going to pay for that subscription. To hell with with Elon Musk. I'm not going to pay for that subscription. Why they keep their account? But the danger with that is that they keep their account. People will create parody accounts, fake accounts, impersonating them and causing more damages to their reputation. So they need to weigh the cost of doing rebooters all the time. Each somebody posts fake something on their name, the reputation damage that come, they have to weigh it, and also paying £8 a month, $8 a month for verification. And I think this is important. They need to decide whether they want to stay on Twitter and or whether they want to exit Twitter. If they are going to stay on Twitter, they need to go and pay for that verification. Otherwise, it's going to be a whole lot of chaos coming in the next few weeks, because you are going to have a lot of misinformation, and it will be very difficult for some of us, especially people that are not social media literate, to distinguish between fake and genuine information, and between fake and genuine accounts. Is going to be a whole lot more difficult. What we have before in the previous system is that once you see that blue verification, you are sure that some certain level, Twitter has been able to verify and identify that that person is who that person claims to be. But now the emphasis is on whoever pays that money. So I think something is missing there, and Twitter and these celebrities, they have to decide. Otherwise, we are going to have a lot of chaos upcoming to us. Now, I've given you some sort of background on what Elon Musk is saying on the implication of celebrities not having their account verified. Now, let me move into the Nigeria, into Africa politics. What is going to be the implication of this on politics in Africa and also on social activism? Let me start by saying, like I mentioned in the introduction, that a platform like Twitter is an emerging platform for social activism in sub-Saharan Africa. And I've cited example of hashtag activism like this flag in Zimbabwe, like NSAS movement in Nigeria. You see young people using social media to pass across a message, to mobilize themselves, to criticize government, to hold government accountable, and to hold operators of government responsible for what they say. And that is ongoing. Now, I can cite so many examples. We've seen like Arab Spring that happened in 2011. We see the role that social media play in making sure that people spread information, mobilize themselves to go against dictatorship in a number of northern African countries, and they were able to successfully um, propagated messages among themselves and also mobilize themselves to make sure that that protest was effective. And also we saw how young people use social media to mobilize themselves for NSAS, and we've seen example recent one of obedient movement that people call them social media warriors, and we've seen a lot of things they were able to achieve with social media. So what is going to happen if the influencers that have been the face of these agitations, of this activism, of this, if what is going to happen if they are not verified? So what is going to happen? Let me use an example of what social media has done. And I'm going to talk about a young man from Nigeria called David Ondenyi, who, through investigative journalism, some investigative work, unravel some of the behaviors, past behaviors of one of the prominent person in Nigeria, in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, uh, uh, and he unravel some of his past behavior in the US. And I can tell you that without social media, it's not going to be possible for him to be able to spread that information, because um, established print medias, television stations in Nigeria, for example, they are not going to publish the story. They are not going to, because of fear of censorship, because of fear of paying fine and whatever will happen to them. So they are not going, but he has used social media to sort of propagated that message. And we've seen that from social media, discussions on that particular topic has made inroad into even print medias, into television debates and discussions. So social media has created some sort of democratization of the media in such a way that people that cannot go through the print media and established television stations are still able to do some work of holding public office holders accountable to their behaviors, to their promises, to their election manifesto, and so on and so forth. So the social media has created that kind of distributed, democratized kind of media platform to do that. But let's assume that people like David Ondenyi, Aisha Yesufu, I'm sorry that I'm going to be using Nigeria as a case study, because I believe Nigeria can serve as a representative case of what I'm trying to talk about, politics and activism in Africa. So let's assume that all of them refuse to buy that blue verification. What is going? The first thing that will happen is that a lot of people will create accounts on their name, and they will spread a lot of misinformation and the information that cannot be verified, information that are untrue, that defame people, and operators of government will come for them and say they want to arrest them, and it becomes a problem of verification that I'm not the one that posts this, you are the one that posts this, because what I'm sure of is that their opponents, their attackers, malicious people will create those accounts to put them in trouble. So this is why I'm saying that the first thing that these people need to do is to pay for that blue verification, or leave Twitter and tell their followers that they have left Twitter, so that if anybody creates a parody account on their name, it's they are not going to be held accountable for that. Another thing that will happen is that the kind of dissent you are not going to have it if the faces of activism in Africa refuse to pay for that blue verification, refuse to have their account verified. Their posts will be deranked. The post of people that paid for that thing will be promoted. So if politicians in Africa, and you know that they have a lot of money at their disposal and they want to control the narratives on social media. What they will potentially do is that they will pay for a lot of verified accounts. They will make sure that all their spokesperson, all their strong supporters with huge followership on social media have blue verification. And somebody like me, when I log into Twitter, I'm going to be seeing the post of only those that are speaking in favor of government, speaking in favor of some certain politician. I'm not going to see the posts of the opposition or the people, the activists, again, because they've refused to pay for the verification. So I'm going to be seeing the post that is pushing one particular narrative. So these are the implications of this kind of thing, apart from the fact that they will implicate them, they will try to set them up, they will try to steal their identity, they will try to push them into trouble. They will also try to relegate their opinions on social media platform. And what that is going to cause is that it's going to cause one-sided narrative of what the politicians want you to know. So I'm saying this so that people will take note. Now, on the part of the people that are not public, that are not celebrities, that are not opinion leaders, that are not public figures, what is the implication on them? The implication on them is that the responsibility is now falling on them to verify authentic accounts and fake accounts on social media. Before now, Twitter has verified some accounts. We don't need to do that verification on our own. So if I see Peter Obi with blue tick, I know that this is authentic Peter Obi. If I say President Muhammadu Buhari with blue tick, I know that, okay, this is authentic account of President Muhammadu Buhari. So I don't need to do any extra thing to discount misinformation that is coming from a parody account, and also to recognize an information that's coming from a verified account. But with what is going to happen now is that people will pay for verification, and they are impersonators or they are malicious people. They might even not be impersonating anybody. They are just malicious people that want to spread misinformation. They will pay for verification. Their post will be promoted, and it's now become difficult for somebody like me, if I don't have much of social media literacy, social media education, to be able to distinguish between fake malicious account and authentic account, even though that account has blue verification, because that person has paid for that verification. It's not that the person was verified the way Twitter used to verify people. So that is a very, very big problem. And what is the implication of this on politics in Africa? In Nigeria, for example, is that you are going to have a lot of misinformation that will escalate, and it will make it very, very difficult for us to be able to make meaningful change or meaningful impact on social media, because it will become extremely difficult to distinguish between authentic, genuine information and fake information, because a lot of people have paid for verification. Their posts are promoted and they want to deliberately spread misinformation. So it's going to be very difficult for users of Twitter that doesn't have social media education to be able to distinguish between fake information and authentic information. And a lot of people will pick those information, spread it across other medias, spread it on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and this is what we are going to be having. So what I'm trying to say is that the implication on the politics in Africa is that suppressive, repressive governments in Africa will pay to promote their opinions as against the opinions of the activists that want to hold them to account. Secondly, it's going to allow for more spread of misinformation and things like that. And thirdly, it's going to allow for identity theft, they're going to start stealing the identity of of opinion leaders, of celebrities, of public figures, and it will create a lot of confusion. So, what I want to bring out in this um, podcast is that number one, opinion leaders in Africa, activists that have been using social media for activism, they need to go and pay for that verification, or they need to exit Twitter and let their followers know that they have exited Twitter, so that nobody will come tomorrow and use their identity to spread misinformation. And users that are not celebrities, that just want to go and see what is going on social media, they need to be careful going forward to make sure that they distinguish between fake accounts that have paid for verification and authentic accounts. And this is very, 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 very important. And also, faces of movement, political movements on social media must make sure that they pay for that verification. And this is very important. And also, what I want to say to platforms like Twitter is to make sure that the motivation is not just on money, that anybody can pay for that verification. They also have to make sure that they retain that authenticity, the verification element, to make sure that even if you are bringing money to pay, they still make sure that they verify that people are who they claim to be on social media. So this is the podcast for today. Thank you very much for following. And tomorrow I'll be talking about President Muhammadu Buhari that's apologized for his action and inaction in government. So what does that apology, what does it mean? What is the implication of that apology? Is it something that we can accept, or is it an apology that we must reject? Please watch out for this podcast tomorrow. I'll be talking about it, and thank you very much for listening. And I want to say that if you have not subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do so. Flat Corner FA sitting on uppercase and Corner in lowercase on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again.